All right, we are set. Uh-huh. Let's see if I can set this up here. Yeah, okay. This is how it works, right? Yeah, okay, cool. So we are trying to determine here. I mean, this does look like a pretty solid angle. Like, I don't know where exactly that's supposed to be happening. What if we do it here? Like, how good of a bent would that work? That's not what we'd want. Okay, so you could definitely make a case for Altus. Unfortunately, it's so dark, it's hard to tell if they intended for it to just be like generic green over here, or if that's supposed to be like this. And honestly, it really doesn't matter, because it could be they didn't even think about that detail for the cinematic. They were just like, yeah, we just need it to be like out in a field at night or whatever, right? I feel like this should be green. I could be crazy, right? I did this before. If it was supposed to be somewhere realistic here on Altus, it should be here, right? The problem is there's that giant cliff there. Like, there's no, unfortunately, there's just not a location that like perfectly captures. Like the Erd tree looks like it should be farther away too. But like, yeah, no. There's just no way I think you can rationalize the direction they're traveling if it's supposed to be they're already on Altus. I think you could maybe make the case, because if the idea was like it was somewhere like this. Would be ideal if I didn't have rain and fog getting in my way here. That would be real helpful. Also, wait, let me forget. I don't want to make that mistake like I did with Nick the other day, where I have it left on top chat and then you guys like message me and it doesn't come through. There we go. Nope. I mean, if it's in terms of conifers, it would have to be on this northern side, because that's where the conifers are that we see. Like, and we can definitely see the pine trees here in the background of this vid. Right, see? Like, this is the point where you start seeing these. So the argument is like, oh, they're just going through like a forest in northern Liurnia like this. I could buy it, right? Like, you don't see the ruins or anything, but you kind of blow up to scale and be like, okay, oh god. Right. God. Save me. Now, unfortunately, you can't really justify the minor Erd tree in the way here if it was a specific location, but like I said, I don't think we can get to specifics here. I think if we were just going with the general concept, like somewhere here in northern Liurnia. think that would maybe be the best argument. Oh, now. Well, at least you know it's me. God, the weather is just absolutely god awful. Oh God, it's awful. Oh. This is looking a little center though now. Not a lot of conifers on this corner either. Yeah, it's more or less limits itself to around here. And then over here. Yeah, over here. We had some conifers over here. Yeah, like now we're starting to get a bit of the idea of what we were looking at before. I don't see the Divine Tower or anything, of course, in there, but again, I don't think they were thinking about that stuff. Like, honestly, you don't even see anything from Langdell or anything here. It's just the Erd Tree, right? It's just like a horizon with the Erd Tree here. Right. Yeah, A or else we would go down here, would just be blocking it by cliffside. So yeah, I think the best argument would be like it's supposed to be a forest somewhere in northern Liurnia. Right. Or an Altus, Western Altus. Northern Liurnia makes more sense though, because at the very least you can make a justification that they're going from the Divine Tower and heading north over to Altus, where they could then head over to Langdell, right? Like this is a viable pathway that would be consistent with the general idea of the cinematic, even though the details are not necessarily all there. So that does work. Very loosely, but it does work. Again, only other really good example would be somewhere on Altus. But again, I don't know if looking at that, we can really make the connection there. What if I... There we go. Because we're still getting the conifers here. Yeah, something like this is a bit viable, right? Again, you're not seeing any of the mountains or anything there, but again, if we're just trying to like big picture it and be like, okay, let's blow up the lands between so it's like 100 times bigger than the actual explorable map, then yeah, it could work. And then the only question would just be how exactly they're able to make the travel distance across these incredibly large things all within the span of a single night, right? And I guess we just have to kind of go with magic horses as our explanation. trying to think. Yeah. I can't really think of anything else that would really be able to kind of comport with this. Let's see. Let me blow it up for you guys. See if I can see anything different. Like, you look at this. This looks like greenery to me. You have the conifers here, along with some normal-ass trees. Right? Let me turn the volume off for this. And we just have them riding. All right, this is... Let's see if I can find the exact frame. Yeah, this one's a good one. Yeah, these two I think would probably be... Yeah, this would probably be the best. This or this. So here you can see their veils aren't really portrayed as veils. They're portrayed as, and they're not like portrayed as translucent veils, right? Because this is the point they're being made. Is they are described as dark, but they're also described as lustrous. There's no luster here. These look like thick, regular, like heavy robes, you know? Like this does not look like a thin veil with magic powers. Granted, it does have shadowy powers, right? This little column of clouds at the end, right? We don't see this in the final game either, right? And this is another shot of the Erd tree. Again, it looks like they repositioned the tree to be a little bit more in the background because obviously when they're doing this, it's so much, it looks closer compared to the other shot, and they're clearly passing it, right? Like it should already be behind them at this point, pretty sure. Here, though, it looks like it's still shining on them. Unless that's supposed to be the moon. But, like, it's a bit weird to have the moon there, because I'm pretty sure the moon's always portrayed on the right side, too. So, it'd be very weird to have it coming. Either way, it doesn't really make sense for the lighting to be coming from that direction. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is just for effect here. Right? And the assassination of Godwin, they just show the shadows. The assassins leave, right? Got the blood coming down. You've got the curse mark, of course, on the back and like the real nasty little effect it has there. Then you got... From the curse mark, so like they're here. I guess one of them brought a torch or something for some reason. It's like they leave, right? The light fades. And then from the curse mark, we start seeing creepy crawlies coming from there, right? See it like right there and up here too. Right there. There's probably more on this left side I'm not seeing. Okay, now they don't really show any coming from at least this corner that I can notice. But you do see it right here. Yeah, like right there. Yeah, right there just comes crawling down up the neck. And already, it looks like there's some subtle, like, it doesn't necessarily show on the top of the skin, because, like, as soon as that one's starting to move, you're already seeing movements down here around the face going down and through. And is that, I think there's a little bit of movement of the head, too. Yeah, you're notice the hand, too. Like there's some very subtle movements of the joints too. It's kind of like that Frankenstein, like, you know, little electricity coursing through, causing some like twitch reactions. Yeah, right there. Right there. Uh-huh. Then it starts crawling all the way over to where the eye is. Has that weird bleeding look to it, with the golden look disappearing, right? And like, you can see the worms coming out of the tear ducts, like all that nasty death fluid. Yeah, right. And then it cuts over. So really, no, we don't care about you right now, Morgott. All right, so looking at all this, let's go back to the shot I really liked. Something like that. So, from what I'm getting, it looks like the Night of the Black Knives had to have taken place something like this. You have Ronnie at the Divine Tower in Liurnia. The Divine Tower... So, you have Ronnie at the Divine Tower. You have Rykard in Volcano Manor. You have Malekith traveling from Leyndell to Volcano Manor, right? On the night that he is... Or I guess, yeah, on the night that he is returning back, right, from the volcano, right? So probably somewhere on Gelmir, we'll say. We could, yeah, like, we could say, like, somewhere like here, right? Like, he's just like, yada-da-da, doo-ba-doo, He gets ambushed. He gets jumped by a bunch of assassins. The assassins restrain him. Maybe they get a few good stabs in, but he's a big boy, so he can take it. None of them are able to deal a fatal blow, but they are able to distract him or whatever long enough for one or more of them to break his sword and make sure to nick off a few pieces. Then, you just need one or two assassins to pick up those pieces while the rest of them continue distracting him or holding him back, and then they all basically scatter and run away and go into hiding, and Malekith loses track of him. So they're not able to kill Malekith, but he's not able to kill them. He has no idea who or what they are. They just kind of randomly attacked him while he was on his way back, right? It looks not suspicious because it wasn't like it happened in Rykard's own home or anything. It was technically outside. We don't know if he had an escort or what have you, but let's even assume that he did. They could always just kill the escort because they still got all the invisibility stuff going for him, right? So Rykard makes his escape. Oh, well, I should say the assassins make their escape, and Rykard's able to get off scot-free because of it. Ronnie also can't be connected back to this, right? So that all works out for both of them. Still not exactly sure why we have such a giant height difference between these two. Like, what the hell happened with the volcano that's causing that type of seismic rift, you know? Anyway, not important. So then they have to travel all the way back down to the Karian Study Hall and to Ronnie at the Divine Tower. Ronnie creates their blades, and then they all start riding out to their various locations. They got assassinations in Castle Morn. Is that the only one down south? Yeah, I think it is, actually. Obviously, you got one in Deep Root Depths and stuff like that, but that could be part of the Leyndell operation and things of that nature. You got the few in Liurnia, so that's not that far away, right? You got the ones all the way over on the mountaintops by Castle Sol and by Ordina, which is, again, part of that Leyndell operation, right? So I have to go through to get to the Forbidden Lands and things of that sort, right? Is there any other I'm forgetting down here? Deep Root. Oh, yeah, also Noclateo. So I guess Noclateo would also be probably somewhere down here, most likely, right? So all of that would definitely be possible. And And then they have to kill Godwin first while Ronnie's simultaneously being killed in a coordinated strike. I don't know how they accomplished the timing without watches or anything like that. I'm not exactly sure how exactly time is being told in this universe, that they're able to coordinate something like that. Maybe there's like some magic means that Ronnie could like give a signal or whatever for when they need to act, and when she, or maybe, you know, or they could give her a signal as well on when they're going to act or whatever, so they could both be performing this at the same time. Again, I am not entirely sure how this exact part of the plan would work out. But yeah, they basically would have to simultaneously kill each other. Ronnie obviously leaves the body discarded here and doesn't do anything with it again. Yeah, Ordina wouldn't be that hard, not much in Dwayne's defenses. Castle Sol at least takes some work. You could argue the same for Castle Morn. Though again, maybe you can make the argument that maybe the Lord of Castle Morn is one thing, but if we believe one of the demigods was quote-unquote resurrected, then it's possible that this revived god was the Lord, and the one we see in Tomb's Word could alternatively just be, I don't know, like a guy on pilgrimage, kind of like Mikola. That's always possible. I think the bigger problem for me is like, where exactly? Unless there's like an item in Tomb's Ward that's supposed to be alluding to it, we still don't have a complete good idea of where exactly this revived demigod is. I'm assuming by revived they don't mean like up and about, just like, okay, he's no longer soulless, we can have him achieve Erdtree burial, right? That would be my assumption. But who knows? Uh-huh. Yeah, so the only problem then is just being able to justify traveling those great distances all in a single night. Because again, we can travel on Torrent throughout the entire Lands Between in like 30 minutes, right? Going from like Forge to Beast Sanctum, or if you want to like more Moangrave or whatever, right? Like we can travel through there relatively fast, even without ×5 speed, right? Obviously ×5 speed would probably make it, well, obviously like a lot quicker, but I think the idea would be like we could definitely travel through here a lot faster than would realistically be possible for the people in universe to do it, especially if they have pit stops here, right? Like these are supposed to be public rest stops essentially, right? You don't make these unless the distance between here to here, or even here to I don't know, like here maybe. Actually no, I think yeah, it would just be the whole length here. There's not really another good option, right? It wouldn't make sense unless these places here take at least a day, more than a day to travel, right? Like there's no way you're doing this in 12 hours, right? And let's be generous here and say that the Night of the Black Knives is from like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., right? Sundown to sunrise. That's a whole heck and a lot of distance you gotta cover in a very short amount of time. So only thing I can think of is that's because they have magic horses, and somehow the magic horses are able to have them travel a lot faster. Who knows? Maybe that's justification for why we're able to get around so fast on Torrent, that Torrent actually moves a lot faster than we think and lets us be able to cover greater distances. That's the only thing I can possibly explain it, because you have the Knights Cavalry, who similarly seem to get around quite far across the land in the meantime. And you also have these assassins doing it. I just don't, yeah, I can't. The thing is that the fact that all of it happens in one night, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, and I get it why. You have to have it happen in one night, because otherwise it feels like there should be a lot more heads up if Malekith had the time to be able to be like, okay, Erica, bad news, somebody, you know, ambushed me and basically was able to take some of my rune of death. That's not really a good sign. We all know what that stuff can be used against you and the demigods. Like, we should all be like, it's very obvious that everyone should have been on high alert, expecting something to happen at some point in the near future, and that they should have been prepared for it. So the fact that it's all done in one night is able to justify how they were able to pull this off. Now, granted, they still somehow got found after the fact, leading to Tish having to take a blow for her mother to protect her and dying. And then Electo still having the time to be able to collect Tish's remains and stuff. So clearly they were discovered and things went horribly wrong. Now, we don't know if any more assassins got killed or captured or anything, unfortunately. We don't got a lot of evidence on that front. We see evidence of a bunch of them in going to Ordina. So that would make sense. If like a bunch of them were scattering, then they're like, okay, well, we'll go back to like the scene of the crime or something like that. Or, hey, these are our fellow Nox descendants. They'll give us safe harbor or what have you. Now that everything, right? Like, you can justify them coming back at any point after the shattering and everything falls into chaos. And if they're all doing it on foot, which is another weird problem, right? Because we see the Knights Cavalry are able to summon their steeds, right? Similar to what we do with our Whistle and Torrent. So it's like, clearly there are ways for you to be able to always have a steed on hand, especially if it's like a spectral mount. So the fact that these assassins are using the horses, and yet they don't do this is, that's something. That's a question mark for you. So I have no idea. Yeah. Yeah, so based on the orientation of the Erd Tree, the presence of conifers, and the overall look of greenery at night, this area would have to be here. Somewhere here. Somewhere in this location. Right. We do have some signs of road here, which is interesting considering I'm pretty sure they're sheer cliffs. As far as I can tell, yeah, it's not really reflected. Like, yeah, you do have like dirt road here, but like it's obscured by this and this. So unless we have an explanation for why these things are here, specifically around these ruins, it would be hard to really justify that there was a road that just kind of passed through here. And then I could kind of see the idea of a path here. Again, though, it doesn't make complete sense unless we were to believe that there is, in fact, like some magical teleportation stuff, or use of spirit springs or something. It just, there has to be something that would be able to shorten the distance dramatically so it can all be done within the span of a single night. Like, you have to be able to make that justification. Yeah, and you're just... Am I crazy? I don't remember. Do all of them do something like this? Let's see. Yeah, they do. Okay. 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 You need to reconfirm. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh, you actually have their weapons over here. I've never noticed that before. That's actually kind of neat. That's cool. Something like this. Nice. Oh. Just to make sure there's no other problems. They don't want the YouTube video potentially getting caught in the crossfire, as it were. Is that the only example of like them actually including the weapons among the bodies? Is this oh no, there's another one here. Uh-huh. There we go. Yeah, so overall, I'm not seeing much else we could really do to justify the time crunch. And then Godwin has to get buried down here, but you could say that takes place over the course of several days, if not weeks, because well, you have to bring people in for the funeral, and like, you know, so the events with the demigods and stuff are occurring proper and everything. So I feel like you can definitely, like, you have time before America has to break the Elder Ring. So like, oh my god, Godwin is dead, I'm gonna go immediately off to break that thing, right? Like, you can give her a few days or weeks to stew on it before she just kind of snaps. Right. All right. So that there. Are there any assassins I have not, like, I don't remember if I've killed all the assassin characters in here or not. Yeah, I've killed them here. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Let's switch over to another character then. Let's try Shishinki. I don't remember if we've covered this yet. I've never been to Death Touch Catacombs. The question is, though, have I killed the assassin here? I have not. Yeah, it has some blood. Blood on the hands. Has the black dagger. Hard to tell here, but we definitely see signs of injury. Again, this is very interesting because it's like, okay, so these guys, or girls, I guess they said, little girly pops, they can bleed, right? They can bleed like you or me with good old red blood. But when you hit them, they have like a shadowy effect, similar to what we see with the cape. Which again, I'm okay with. What's interesting here, though, is the fact that they're not actually wearing the veil. This girl doesn't have it. I don't remember if the armor was damaged either. Like, I don't remember if it was damaged on the arms like this. Like, yeah, I have to wonder now. All right. Yeah, we already got that covered there. This one's still alive, though. Well, maybe it's just that I can't see the damage because the veil's in the way. Yeah, it's the same thing here. Okay. So it really is, the main difference seems to be is that, like, there's an injury on the torso area with some blood splatter. And no veil. Also, yeah, like, compare this. See if we can get better lighting. Right? Like, yeah, something like this. Compare this to what we got here. I'll even do the big one. Like, you can just tell, like, these are not the same. This one's translucent. It's got that little shine to it, right? It's kind of similar to what we see with Dancer and stuff in Dark Souls 3. But I'd argue, I think it's a little bit more, like, got that weird luster to it. You know, like, it's almost, like, this one almost looks like it's kind of, like, almost, like, rubbery or something with the way it reflects. Whereas you don't really get that look with the Dancers and stuff. Like, it almost looks like maybe it's glowing, but not like this. And you don't got any of this shadow stuff. That said, the whole idea of this, like, shadow stuff would be consistent with the idea that it's because of the veils that they, that their faces are invisible and they only emit shadow stuff instead of properly bleeding. You definitely make some argument about that. I have to ask though now, is it the same if we hit the horses? Like if we let's go here. Because there should be a Knights Cavalry here, right? Where the hell is it? Over here? Yeah, okay, over here. There we go. Let's make it a little brighter for us so we can see better. All right. All right. Oh, wait. Duh. And, display blood. There we go. Oh, wait. You guys can't see because I'm being an idiot. Duh. Sorry. Sorry. That is most definitely red blood. I don't know if it's the same for Torrent. I'm going to assume it is. But yeah, that is most definitely red blood coming from the horse. That hit you too? Yep, like... Yeah, like that, there's no denying it. That was red blood coming right out of his ass. Is this like a wool cloak too? Like the texture for it's definitely interesting. A little bit of blood on the edges there. Oh, they're covered in blood, period. Like, that's actually... Huh. That's actually kind of cool. Yeah, okay. Again, I should probably hide this just in case this gets... I forget if this stuff gets caught up in the screenshots or not. Uh-huh. There you go. Aye. Got it. There we go. Even the weapons, got a bit of blood on them. Let's see. Anything like this? I guess. Oh boy. Oh. Let's see there. All right. Moving right along then, we should... I mean, it's not really I need to get from the screenshot side of things if I look at, you know, Night of the Black Knives and everything, right? Like, most of it's trailer shots, right? Like, there's nothing really where it's like, I need to show you guys this specific area in game, right? Like, I think at most I would have to do maps, because it'd be like, okay, I have to, like, I'd probably want to show, like, yeah, okay, them traveling from, like, the Leardian Study Hall going north. That would make the most sense, right? Not this close, like a little farther, a little more in than this, right? But not as this close in. Like, just be like, yeah, trees over here. We got to travel this way up north. Like, that's the most rational element that we could gather from this. But nothing really like in game outside of like the stuff at the end where it's like, okay, we have this assassin here, that assassin there, these like 4 assassins all the way over here, right? Actually, I forget, are you allowed to go back in that dimension after you've done the puzzle? I want to assume you can, but... Let's try it. Let's give it a go. Let us... Uh-huh. Yeah, sentry storage, right? Yeah. I think there's like 4 of these guys in total. Correct me if I'm wrong. Man, shorties. We got a lot of short kings here. Like, where the hell are these? Where the hell are these folks? Oh. Right, there's one. And there's no difference between them and some of the other ones we have. So really, it's just a matter of, is there enough power, I guess? Yeah. Yeah, there's one of them that we found that was like a corpse out. I guess the question is that corpse like an extra one that didn't make it inside here, or because this is supposedly an Everjail, right? Just kind of doing her thing. Yeah, there's a third one. Also, holy hell, I didn't realize just how buried. Like, wow. Like, they don't really model much of it below, but like, that's like, wow. Like, isn't this supposed to be not necessarily a balcony, but like a fencing? Yeah, like you have stuff like that here, right? Huh. Makes you wonder, you know? Anyway, uh-huh. Huh. Wait, is it only 3? I don't remember. I mean, it's possible I killed one and I don't remember, because I think they don't respawn. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, pretty sure there's none up here, otherwise we'd get spawn camped. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not finding any 4th one, so I guess I imagined it. That 4th one's in a spot that I am just not able to remember. So 1, 2. Oh, no. I guess the fencing depth doesn't have to be that high, though it's still kind of impressive how much is buried. Now that I think about it, there's also questions about why we have some of these buildings like destroyed and stuff. Like, what exactly? Is there a conflict we should be concerned about, or that's not going to be helpful? So that's number 3. Right, Right, I already did damage. Oh boy. Yeah, if there's a fourth one, apologies. Don't remember where's she at. I guess I could try climbing, see if I'm just misremembering and it's somewhere on this section where we jump around. I feel like I remember though if I got attacked by assassin up here at one point, you know? Oh. I didn't feel like that would have stuck in my mind. So in total, it looks like Ronnie recruits women from Celia. These women from Celia. Yeah. These women from Celia, led by Electo, are essentially train up and equip themselves using the connections and stuff that you got between Celian sorcerers and all that jazz. So they're able to get away with quite a bit. Slumbering egg. Meanwhile, Ronnie ends up roping in Rykard after discovering what's going on with him. This could have happened before or after recruiting Electo and crew, by the way. Totally possible that she had this all set up in advance before she went looking for the agents to enact it all. But the point is that you have Rykard here, and it seems like his job was probably to alert them when Malekith was around, so they could set up an ambush for him when he left, right? So as I said earlier, by attacking him technically outside Volcano Manor, but it would be on something where you already know his route and stuff, where he's going to be and when, then okay, you're able to basically get this all coordinated and set up so you can all do it in this single night with your magical horses, right? Yeah, there's no way. If there's a fourth one, it's either I killed that one or it's somewhere else that I have not looked, because it's definitely not up here. 100% not up here. Ah, damn. I don't even know if you can make it over there. I want to say yes, but... Oh yeah, you have to be able to make it over there. Okay. Let's do this in regular speed so I don't go crazy. But anyway, so they have to all have it set up. Rykard ends up giving the alert, sending the message. The assassins get in position. They strike. Let's assume this is after 6 p.m. So, like, you know, sun's going down. Malekith is trying to visit the manor on the down low, just there to check up on things, you know. Make America feel more secure, that nothing stupid is gonna happen with the whole rebellion stuff or whatever, that she can trust her demigods to handle it, right? And then as he's making his way back, he gets ambushed. The rune gets stolen while he's seemingly restrained. Oh, that was a mistake. Seemingly restrained, at least to a certain degree. It could just be a distraction, but like it would make more sense if they're at the very least they got him pinned down long enough so they can get some good hits on that sword and chip off a few pieces, right? And then he can like throw them off, and they just have to gather the pieces, and while the others run away, and like, you know, he doesn't know where to go because like, what do you do? Who you're pursuing? And they get on their horses and they just kind of ride off. And what exactly is Malekith going to do at that point? So that would make the most sense there. Then they ride all the way over to Ronnie at the Divine Tower. Ronnie at the Divine Tower infuses the stuff into her sword. Also, creates the Blasphemous Claw for Rykard as a reward. And then, while she's having Rykard's reward delivered to him, I imagine through a proxy, though if it was by an assassin or not, who knows? I mean, technically it could have... It probably should have been... should be through via one of the assassins. Just by virtue of, again, the time constraints or whatever, right? But either way, the assassins ride across while Ronnie's doing that. They get themselves into position, and then somehow they're coordinating it so they can have Godwyn and Ronnie both being assassinated. Again, we have to assume that a few assassins were probably left behind to do the the curse mark stuff for Ronnie as well, which again would kind of lean into this idea that one of them was probably also sent to deliver the Blossomous Claw to Rykard. It'd be interesting actually if you could find like the corpse of that one assassin, like I don't know, like somewhere. Again, I don't know what the context would be to help it make sense, but you know, something where it's like, I don't know, like maybe like the assassin's been like imprisoned or something there or what have you, and like they're like just dropping down bodies to feed her, or you know, something sick and twisted that would fit with what Rykard's peeps do. Yeah, so only thing I can really think of then is that they coordinate it somehow, so with some signal. Godwin and Ronnie both get killed, right? The curse mark stuff gets put in them and all that happens. Meanwhile... Really? Meanwhile, Ronnie... the other assassins strike at the rest of the demigods that are targeted and kills them. And then there's the question of the pullout, because something has to go wrong because Tish ends up having to protect Electo and dying for it. So at some point while after they complete the stuff with Godwin and are making their escape, they get found out and Tish ends up having to take a blow from her mother. Obviously this was not expected. I don't know how they do it because they don't have the incantation with the torches under Morgott yet. That's a Morgott thing. So they don't really have the luxury of being like, oh, we just happen to have magic torches that can detect your invisibility, right? Like they weren't thinking to do that before. Though the fact that you can create magic torches that can detect invisibility does kind of feel like it's a you problem if you weren't using them before, because if you know that's like, again, if you're able to do that, why wouldn't you, right? I guess you could just argue that no one thought of trying to do it, and it's like, yeah, it's theoretically possible. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, if no one's actually trying to do it because like no one actually thinks it's again, it's just very weird for Langdell with its super high security and all that stuff. That's like, well, I guess we gotta now put the slap an incantation on our torches to make sure that we can detect invisibility. It's like, why weren't you doing that from the beginning? Mm-hmm. There we go. Going this way. And then after basically Tish ends up dying, I guess it was just like some random guards or something that that are put on high alert. Maybe the best I could think of is that Godwin's body gets discovered and like an alert gets sent out to the whole city and they go on lockdown. Like that's the only thing I can think of, is that Godwin's body's discovered and everybody goes on high alert trying to find the assassins or whatever, and they end up end up in a unwanted situation, right? Yeah, they still have the invisibility, but they kind of zigzag on this because we know they can like turn it off, like we see in the opening cinematic where they clearly have shadows and they're like going in and like coming out, so like clearly they have some control over the invisibility cloak, right? And so it's at least something where it's like, okay, well, I guess there's a possibility that they were spotted being visible. And we also know that when you get like grabbed and stuff, like at least I think briefly, right, they do show you them visible before they go back invisible or something. I forget if it's a distance thing or not. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's like maybe only during grab attacks or something. By the way, it's a little bizarre. God, that is... Am I crazy? Yeah, I can't think of another way across here. I guess up here. That might be it. Maybe I'm jumping too low too soon. Also, we don't need this anymore, so. So with all that kind of covered, the only question then would be, what was the pullout plan? Like, were they all supposed to go meet back at the Divine Tower? Was there some separate meeting place, right? Because were they all discovered? It's a little hard to imagine that all the assassins end up getting discovered before they leave, because that's just then like okay, if like this was something that was so easy and likely to happen, how did you guys not think of it and then plan accordingly so to prevent this, right? Like, I can imagine like one thing go wrong. The only other thing I can think of is that Ronnie had given a tip off or something, or had agents or someone among the army ranks or something who would knowingly or unknowingly find Godwin's body and deliberately screw over Electo that way. So that way the soldiers would hopefully kill her and everything, what have you, and like, you know, completely disorganize. Ah, man, too early. Huh? I'm gonna try one more time. Well, that worked that time. Okay, so maybe it's just I can't be on one of these. Maybe that was the problem. Over here. A rune! All that for a rune arc. What a joke. All right, so really? Am I crazy? Do they not have collision? Okay, no, they definitely have collision. I was just not hitting them properly. Okay, cool. And their shadow. Okay. All right, with that in mind, oh, you can't leave. That's unfortunate. Just gonna have to go get myself killed later. Let's go back to Shishinki because there's some living black knives, right? The black knives we can encounter, of course, at Ordina, the one at Langdell, one in the catacombs here, Death Touch catacombs here. Yeah, I think that's about it. All right, if that's the case, I think that pretty much wraps up all the stuff I'd have to sort out. Like, there's not much to get screenshots for. Yeah, I think this works. Okay. Well, that's fine. I need to go listen to my president start a war nobody asked for, so let's end things here then. All right, so bit of a short and quiet one, but that's fine. We can have those in a bit. Probably gonna get back to Night Rain sometime this week, so I don't know if that's gonna be tomorrow or not. We'll see how everybody's schedules work out. But until then, later. Be safe.